was all wrong. John sent me here to save you.
From the Terminator that was sent back to kill me, I know, but we already took care of him.
We.
I've been waiting for you.
It's time for Movie Month. It is my third annual Movie Month, in which I will be watching 30 movies in 30 days, and I'll either hate them or give them praise. Whee! Well, it's Saturday night and I just watched a movie. Blah, 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 blah. I never really had an ending for that. Hello and happy Saturday night, everybody. This is Mike from Geek Mentality, and it's day 11. You know why I know that? Because it is June 11th. It's really easy to keep track of these days. Day 11 of Fans Not Experts Movie Month. Very exciting. This is technically day 71 of all the movie months if you take the first 30, the second 30, and these 11. And I'm very happy to say that I just finished tonight's movie, which was Terminator Genisys. And when I say I'm very happy, I'm not coming at you saying it was like the most amazing movie or was an excellent movie or was a great movie or was a really good movie. I'm just glad I watched it. You know, I've had this kind of sitting there to be watched for a good week or two now. I've had it for a while. And I thought, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to take the time. I might as well see it. And it's funny, I looked at the DVD cover and it says, one of those random movie reviewers says, the best Terminator movie since T2. And I thought, well, duh. I mean, it has to be better than Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, starring Claire Danes, right? It has to be. And Nick Stahl, is that the guy's name? And I never did see the Terminator with Batman in it. And I don't think I ever will. And this one, when I first saw the previews, I thought, oh, this is going to be dope, yo. That's how I talk normally. I usually talk like that, dope, yo. And I try to put on a professional voice for the podcast, but yo, man, when I'm outside the podcast, all I do is, talk like this. Dope, yo. That's the only slang I know, so I use it a lot. Like, man, this seltzer I'm drinking. Hear that? It's dope, yo. All right. Yeah, I saw the trailer for the movie. I thought, ooh, this looks pretty cool. It's got the Khaleesi in it from Game of Thrones. It's got old Arnold in it, and it's got a young Arnold in it. I don't get it. But okay, well, how are they going to explain this? Here's my thought when I remember saying, how do robots age? Doesn't make any sense. Well, they actually try to make sense out of that. And I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to spoil this, pretty much entirely as I talk about it. So as I said, the trailer came out and I was pretty excited. And I thought, I'd like to see this in the theater. Well, of course I didn't. So I said, well, I'm going to wait till June. At least then to see it. And then I saw all these reviews, and I remember hearing Arnold talking about this is the beginning of a new trilogy. Oh, I'm walking away from the microphone. Now I'm back. Arnold talked about this being the start of a brand new trilogy. And it didn't do very good at the box office as far as domestically. I think, cost, from what I looked up, I think it cost $150 million to make. I think, which is low if you think about Terminator 2 cost $100 million to make 20-something years ago. But think it's probably cheaper to do some of the effects that they did back then. Now, I'm rambling. My point is, the movie made about $80 million in the United States, which is not great these days. $80 million, I could find that in my couch cushion. But overall, worldwide, it made over $400 million. So worldwide, it's still a successful movie. But originally, the whole thing was this is going to kick off a new trilogy. We're going to have a new television show. And the producers have kind of been backing off. They're still saying, Arnold's still saying there is a movie that's going to be happening. Um, but originally it was like there was going to be part 2 of this new trilogy next year, part 3 the year after that. And I say that, and I don't want to say it's Terminator 7 or 8 because it is almost like they did an interesting way of kind of redoing the original Terminator and in a weird way, kind of canceling everything we've already seen. So, the more I think about that I saw one review on Rotten Tomatoes that said this movie erases all the other Terminators from existence, except for the most important one they should have erased, itself, which I thought was funny. Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna have to, say that we lived in a world where Terminator 1 and 2 didn't happen, then I guess we can do without with this movie. So what am I talking about? Erase the movies from existence. Well, I don't want to get into the plot really yet because first of all, it was freaking confusing. But second of all, so I didn't finish what I was saying, which is normal for me. I didn't finish what I was saying about the sequels. So, I was reading that, as early as this year, they're like, well, we're not fast tracking the sequels. We might do another one, but they were like going to be looking, checking and doing research, which is never a good thing, I guess, with checking with audiences. Who cares about what we think? Maybe, I don't know. But I did see that Emilia Clarke, the Khaleesi, the mother of dragons and the mother of John Connor, said she is not coming back for any sequels, which makes this one even weirder because if they do have a sequel, what are they going to do now? Are they going to bring Batman back? I don't think so. So what the hell was this movie about? Okay, let's see if I can kind of start and do the whole Terminator series, except for the Salvation one because I don't know that one. I never saw it. Terminator 1. The future Skynet sends a robot man back to the past, to 1984, to kill Sarah Connor as a woman. She's a grown woman. Kill her before she can have a child named John Connor, who will grow up and lead the resistance against the robots. So even that's like, when you think about it, it's time travel. It's kind of cool, but it's also a little convoluted because, why not just send robots back earlier and kill her when she was a kid? Well, I'll get back to that. So that's Terminator 1. Now the Resistance sends back, John Connor sends back his best man, Kyle Reese, to protect Sarah. At the same time, Kyle Reese and Sarah fall in love. And when a man and a woman love each other and, have strong emotions for each other, how do I put this lightly? They did it. Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor did it. And John Connor is a result of their relationship. So John Connor sends back Kyle Reese back in time, and Kyle Reese becomes his father. That's Terminator 1. Kyle Reese dies saving Sarah Connor, or helping to save Sarah Connor. I think Sarah does a lot of the saving herself. The Terminator gets killed, and that's the end of it, right? Great. No, they wait about 13 years, and now Sarah has a young, teenage son named John Connor, played by the always precocious Edward Furlong. And this time, they send back a better version of the Terminator robot, which is like liquid metal, played by the brother of the guy who's in Filter. I'm kidding. His name's Robert Patrick. I'm not kidding about being the brother of the guy from Filter. Robert Patrick's brother is the lead singer of Filter. That's besides the point. So they bring back this guy who just, is a liquid metal robot. But John Connor has a robot man in the future that he programs, sends him back as well in 91 to, which really, it can't be 91 in the movie because otherwise Edward Furlong would be 6 years old. So it must be later in the future, 97 or something like that. But they reprogram Robot Man in the future, send him to the past to help Sarah Connor against Liquid Robot Man. So there's lots of cool action, and they kill the other robot. But here they also kill Skynet. You'd think, or Cyberdyne, or God, there's so many confusing things. I think it's Cyberdyne in Terminator 2, but Cyberdyne becomes Skynet. So they say, instead of just, saving John Connor to save the future, let's try to stop it before it becomes, the end of the world. Well, they do, and Judgment Day never comes unless I'm thinking about a deleted scene in which they talk about Judgment Day not coming. But the way the movie ends is Robot Man melts away, puts his thumbs up, says "Hasta la vista, baby," or something like that. But he saves John Connor, saves Sarah Connor, and they save the world. Except they don't, because I think a piece of technology got out, and some guy found it and said, "Oh, what is this technology? I'm going to work on this," and that becomes Skynet. So there's still the future's still bad, and there's I think that's the genesis of pun not intended of Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines, which I saw one time many years ago, where they try to. There's like a lady Liquid robot now, and another slightly older Arnold robot comes back, Robot Man, and he helps Claire Danes and a new John Connor. There's been so many John Connors. If you take the television show, Terminator 2, Terminator 3, Terminator Salvation, Terminator Genisys, that's 5 John Connors. So I like to tangent. It's what I like to do. But that Terminator 3, I just remember that Arnold's carrying up a casket. Claire Danes is in it. There's a Liquid Lady robot. And at the end, John Connor and Claire Danes lock themselves in a bunker as all the missiles go off and they can't do anything about it. Judgment Day's here. It's the end of the world. And that's where it ended for years. Years. Then they made Terminator Salvation, which I just assume was in the future, and it was all about the fight during the Resistance and has nothing to do with the past. Everything in the past happened, and that's the end. The 1, 2, 3 happened, and that's great. That's the past. Here's the future now. Here's where the Resistance has to fight the robots. That's what I think, because I never watched Terminator Salvation, and I don't think I ever will. But this movie kind of throws all that stuff into out of whack. And in a way, business-wise, it's saying, look, here is the young Spock, but there's also the old Spock that you know. And at this certain point, old Spock and young Spock kind of split, and there's new stories that we can do with this new young Spock. But old Spock, all that stuff happened for him over there, but there's a new timeline. Something like that, right? So here's what I'm talking about. This movie opens up, we're in the future, and John Connor, they're trying to fight the Resistance, but one of the Robot Men gets sent back to 1984, which is when Arnold gets sent back in the original movie. So John Connor says, Kyle Reese, somebody's got to go back and save my mother. And Kyle Reese is like, yo, I'll do it. I'll save your mother. And then he's like, all right, here's a picture of her. She's a waitress. He's like, what? What's a waitress? Because he's from, this dystopian future. They don't have waitresses really anymore. He's like, don't worry about it, man. Just get in this machine, take off all your clothes. You got to be naked and get in this machine and go back and save my mother. He's like, yo, I'll do it. But I'll do whatever I got to do. Okay. So he sends him back. Okay. This is where it gets wacky. So we're basically watching almost like a different angle of the original Terminator movie, where young Arnold, they did a pretty good job with CGI, young Arnold gets sent back to kill young Sarah Connor from 1984, from the original movie. Kyle Reese, who is no longer Michael Bain, because they went with another guy, I think it's Jay Courtney, please. I think that's the name I was reading. So he gets sent back. Everything's kind of the same. They even redo some scenes where Arnold's like, give me your pants. But here's where it gets wackadoodle. Arnold, in the original movie, this guy takes these punk rockers' clothes, and then he starts hunting down Sarah Connor. All of a sudden, here, he takes he goes to take the punk rockers' clothes, and all of a sudden you hear, I've been waiting for you, or something like that. And you turn, and there's an old Arnold, and he starts shooting a gun, and you're like, what is going on here? So all of a sudden, someone is set up with a sniper rifle, and boom, they take out the Arnold that got sent back to 1984. And who's the one with the sniper rifle? Sarah Connor. Are you Sarah Connor? Yes, she was Sarah Connor. So wait, huh? What? But they really don't show her yet. So this is I'm getting ahead of myself. So a woman, you see an eye shoot the sniper rifle. Boom. At the same time, Kyle Reese comes back and he runs to a sporting goods store to get his clothes. I'm pretty sure that happened in the original movie. This time, there's a liquid Terminator man, but it's not Robert Patrick this time. It's an Asian man who slightly resembles Robert Patrick's features and build. My assumption is the T-1000, they always have that build. That doesn't make any sense. But he starts fighting. Kyle Reese is running from him, and he doesn't even, he's like, what's going on? What is this? He's never seen one like this before because they didn't exist yet in his time. So obviously someone sent him back. Well, we know who it is later on. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of him getting out on just leaving the sporting goods store, boom, a truck comes in, smashes its way in, and who opens the door but Sarah Connor? She says, "Come with me if you want to live," which is the Arnold Schwarzenegger line in part 2. It might be Michael Baine's line in part. I don't know if Michael Baine used it in part 1. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. I think that a line originated in part 2. And he's like, wow, what? And so he gets in the car with him. Sarah Connor is not the waitress that he thought he was going to see. And who's in the back seat with him? The dead robot from the future and an old man Arnold. And he's freaking out because he thinks it's a Terminator. Well, it is a Terminator. He thinks it's a bad Terminator. But here's where it got interesting. I always said, why don't they send robots back earlier to kill Sarah Connor when she's a kid? I still don't know why they just don't keep doing it. They could have done it when she was 2. They could have killed Sarah Connor's parents. That's besides the point. They could have maybe said, oh, there's only so many moments you can try it and make some BS up. But they did send a robot back when she was a kid. But somebody else sent a reprogrammed Arnold robot back as well. And that robot saved Sarah Connor's life, even though her parents were killed. And that robot raised Sarah Connor. And he knew everything that was going to happen in 1984. So he and her were ready for the robot to come from the original Terminator movie. And they were ready for Kyle Reese to come from the original Terminator movie. So everything that happened in that original Terminator movie was canceled out right away once they killed the original Terminator robot. So Terminator 1, the original, gone, no longer exists. Now we have a young woman who is ready to go, kind of like Sarah Connor was in part 2. Now she's ready to roll. And I think they just killed her off in part 3 they talked about her dying of cancer, which is depressing. But okay, so here we are. What is it? Part 6, 5? This is 5. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Terminator 3, Terminator 7. This is 5. This is 5. What they did was make a whole new timeline. Boom. So I guess, those things happened in a different timeline. I don't know, timeline theory, all that string theory stuff. But here we are with a whole new timeline, except this isn't the timeline that Kyle Reese was expecting. So, but he was having weird memories, like he's seen her, and weird memories of a life he didn't know existed, with parents he didn't remember he had. And that kind of comes to play in the end. We'll get to that. So now they're like, oh, we're here to stop Skynet together. We're not here. You're not here to save me. The mission has changed. Now we're here to change Skynet. I don't need saving, because I'm okay. And I got my own Terminator, who's a good guy, who has raised me. His name is Pops. Yes, she named him Pops, which I thought was kind of cute. I got to be honest. And he got old. Why does he get old? Because the robot underneath doesn't age, but the skin on top of the robot does age. Huh? Yeah, pretty cool. So, Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese, Sarah Connor, they realize we need to get to the future and stop Judgment Day. Let's go to 1997. But Kyle Reese is like, no, I know when it really happens. It's 2017. So what, huh? So let's go to 2017. First, let's take all our clothes off and just kind of hold each other naked. We're not going to make John Connor yet, but let's do it. So they realized, now that they're going to work together, they're going to all go to the future, except for Pops, Old Man Arnold, because during one of the fights, his arm skin got ripped off. So he was terminated. He's like, I can't go through with my arm like this. So what does he do? He says, I'll see you in basically 30 years. 94, 2004. Okay, 33 years. I know where to find you. So they go through the thing. Boom. They're in the future. Well, the future is 1 year from now. Excuse me. And then you see, because of traffic, Arnold couldn't get to them. But there you see Old Man Arnold. Like he's all white hair. He's even older now. The Arnold we saw in earlier, the Old Man Arnold, is probably more what he looks like. But this, they made him even older. But I don't even know where I'm going from here. So now Old Man Arnold's here. This is crazy, this movie. Old Man Arnold's here to help Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor, who just jumped to the future. They're going to stop Skynet together. Wait, there's more. So the cops find them naked, bring them in, and who comes to their rescue but John Connor? What? What I didn't mention was when Kyle Reese was sent back in time, all of a sudden this weird-looking dude, who I know exactly who he is. He's Matt Smith, who was one of the Doctor Who's. He's a weird-looking gentleman. He has an oddly shaped face. His face looks like he's allergic to something constantly. And they show him attacking John Connor, and Kyle Reese is like, what's going on? And then boom, he's in the future. So he didn't quite know what happened there. But as it turns out, John Connor was sent back. He's like, I was sent back to protect you. But nope, he wasn't. Because Old Man Arnold sees him and shoots him right away and realizes he's still John Connor, but he's been infected by what? Skynet. Yes, that Matt Smith, weird-looking dude, is the embodiment of Skynet. And he infiltrated John Connor's DNA and totally turned him into kind of a half Terminator nano robot man, where he still had all of the memories, but he was now evil. So when they jump to the future, Terminator 2 and 3 were both erased. Boom, erased from existence. So Terminator 1 was erased. Once they jumped to the future, Terminator 2, Terminator 3 was erased. And really, in 2017, John Connor's still not born. So I'm not sure exactly how he's still there, but he's still there. I guess time is funny like that. But now John Connor is a bad guy trying to make sure that Judgment Day goes off. And what is Judgment Day? It's funny you should ask. There's an app out there called Dropbox. This isn't that, but this is all that made me think of was Dropbox. There's a big giant company called Genisys where they're like, we're going to connect my phone to my iPod, to my this, to my that. They're all going to be talking to each other. So basically, Skynet is an app that gone bad, I guess. Like the guys who were creating the app, it was Courtney B. Vance, who, am I right that he was in one of the original Terminators? I'm going to do a little sleuthing right now. I stole this music from another podcast. Who does this when they look stuff up? Okay, so, so cool. Except, it wasn't okay. So Courtney B. Vance plays a guy who owned the company. I don't know if it's Cyberdyne. God, so many things going on. He plays a character named Miles Dyson who helped kind of make. Oh man, my computer's so loud. He helped bring the world of Skynet to life. So he owns the company that Skynet becomes, and we see in this movie it's an app company or a movie. It's a company that makes an app. I'm just turning my power down. It's funny though. This guy, the character, was in Terminator 2 and in the Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles. Different actor every time. So I was a little confused there for a second. Wow, this is definitely the longest podcast I've ever done for a movie. I just wanted to talk about this. So John Connor is the bad guy. He do I really have to go through the whole thing? Basically, this app, once it goes online, because the government's also using it, that's safe. It infiltrates the missile defense system, and boom, all the missiles go off, and everyone's going to be dead. It's it's the end of the world. But luckily, that's Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese and Old Man Terminator make sure that doesn't happen. That's their job. That's what they're going to do. And guess what? They do it. So it was weird because the Genisys app or program also kind of had like a hologram walking around that was growing and turning into that Matt Smith dude from the future. So they blow up everything, and we're like, yay, we can have a nice life. But what's cool is you see the young Kyle Reese, and you see these scenes with young Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor that become the memories that the Kyle Reese that we know, the older Kyle Reese, had. Remember I said when he was time traveling, he had these weird memories that he never had before? That's because those moments hadn't happened yet. I actually thought that was kind of cool. And anytime they do little tricks like that with time travel, I friggin' love it. So as this movie ended, they're going through the rubble let's be honest, they blow up everything. Boom, 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 everything's blown up. I'm almost going a half an hour, so I'm going to stop pretty soon. But they blow everything up, and there they go away and yay, we're going to have a nice life together. Yippee, let's go, Arnold. And they kind of zoom, in the middle of the credits. They go back, and they go, the camera follows underneath the rubble, and there's this giant red glowing ball, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And then, boom, you see a shot of the hologram really quick. And it's that Matt Smith Cyberdyne Skynet. That is Skynet. So once again, Skynet is not completely defeated. So no matter what Sarah Connor, John Connor, Kyle Reese, and Pops or the Terminator do, they fail every friggin' time, because no matter what, these Terminators still come back. So maybe they should just stop and just say, hey, robots, what do you need us to do? Maybe we can work something out here. You don't have to blow everything up. You can take over. We'll do whatever you need us to do. That's what I would do. But they basically set that up for a sequel. I went all the way to the end credits. There was nothing. But I think there was nothing. I should go back and check one more time. But they set it up for more movies. Whether or not we get more movies remains to be seen. But I guess I can understand why people didn't like this movie. What I didn't like about it was very convoluted. Like there was this, then that, then this, then that. But they have to do this, and then this, and then that. And then, I'm a bad guy now. I was a good guy, but now I'm a bad guy. Oh, boy. Oh, I just had a burp in my throat. It didn't come out all the way, but you might have heard that. But there was still enough happening. For some reason, I really enjoyed Old Man Arnold. Very different from the Arnold I watched the other day in Maggie. This was more the Arnold that you are more accustomed to knowing. And there were a lot of good action pieces in this that I thought were pretty cool. Nowadays, you just do it all on the computer. I think there was a bus that got flipped. They might have flipped that bus because that looked pretty cool. It looked pretty real, too. But, I don't know what's going to happen as far as sequels going forward. And if there are sequels, I'll watch them because there was enough going on and enough likable stuff. And again, I know it's not a great movie. and it might have bit off more than it could chew. And maybe this new Sarah Connor isn't going to be coming back unless they really, she says she's not coming back, but she also said, she would never do a nude scene again on Game of Thrones, and then boom, there's news all over the place when she does a nude scene. It's like the biggest thing in the world. So you never know. People say things and then they have a change of heart or a change of paycheck, which, hey, if they need me to be Sarah Connor, I'll do it. But look, that's Terminator Genisys. I'm done. I've talked way longer than I thought I would about this. This is the longest I've talked about any movie so far. And I apologize that you had to listen to me this long. And let's be honest, you probably aren't listening. But if you are, the code word is hashtag POPS. POPS, because of Terminator, if you are listening. If there's anybody listening. That's for my Queensryche fans out there. So enough about me singing. Let's do a little homework real quick. A little housekeeping, as they say. That's another podcast. I steal this from these other podcasts. So this is the Fans Not Experts movie month, where every day I'm watching a new movie. It's day 11. This is my 11th movie. I'm going to try to podcast every day, but I don't think that's going to be possible. I am watching a movie every day. That's without a doubt. Next week, we're going to visit cousins in kind of nowhere, New York. I will have a movie to watch. I will watch a movie, whether I wake up and watch a movie at 5 in the morning, or I watch a movie at 11 o'clock at night, or I watch a movie with my cousin because he loves Puppet Master and I've never seen it, so that might be on the list. Yes, I just said that. But there is a good possibility that I won't podcast those days. However, that being said, if you do like the podcast in any way, if you're listening to this and you like it, check out the website, which is fansnotexperts.com. It has every episode of Fans Not Experts movie month. It has every episode of Geek Mentality. I've tried doing this little podcast here and there. This is probably my longest one so far. We also have a wrestling podcast called WrestleFania and a Boy Meets World podcast. Yes, I said that. A Boy Meets World podcast called Man Meets World. It's exactly what you think it is. Now, you can find me on Twitter at Geek Mentality. You can find the website on Twitter at Fans Not Experts. And if you go to facebook.com/Fans Not Experts, we're there as well. And any place, if you're looking for us on a hashtag, it's hashtag FNE Movie Month. So that's it. Terminator Genisys. I've wanted to see this movie. I've seen this movie. It tried to be smart. I think in some places it was smart. Some places it was complicated. J.K. Simmons was a cool little extra touch that I did not know about. I found out that he was in it from a tweet. I don't know why I didn't even realize it, and it was a cool thing because a younger version of him is in the movie, and then boom, it becomes an older version. And I'm still talking and still rambling. But as I said, sometimes I like little movies. I like little scary movies. I like little dramatic movies. Sometimes I'll take a big dumb action movie. And this week upcoming, there's a really dumb action franchise that I've seen the first movie of, but I've never seen the second, the third, or the fourth. And there's going to be a fifth one. So you may be seeing a lot of dumb action movies posted soon, because if I'm going to see these movies, I'm going to see it during a 30-day stretch where I'm watching 30 movies. So be warned, be prepared, and be good. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Just play my music. I'm done. I'm still recording, aren't I? Okay, now I'm done. Play my music. This is my podcast. I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe, 'cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans Not Experts.